The 2026 Formula One season hasn't even begun, yet the air in the paddock is already thick with tension and the smell of a brewing scandal. Usually, the quiet winter period is a time for teams to hide their designs and speak in hushed tones. But this year, the peace has been shattered by a discovery that could decide the World Championship before a single car has even turned a wheel in anger. At the center of this storm is Mercedes, a clever piece of engineering and a set of rules that might have a massive, gaping hole right through the middle. If the rumors are true, we are looking at a technical advantage so large that it could reshape the entire competitive landscape of the sport for years to come. To understand why every other team on the grid is currently in a state of panic, we have to look at the heart of the 2026 engine regulations. The whole controversy revolves around something called the compression ratio. Now, let's keep this simple. Think of an engine cylinder like a giant syringe or a bike pump. The compression ratio is just a measure of how much the piston squeezes the mixture of air and fuel before it explodes to create power. In the world of high-performance engineering, more squeeze almost always equals more power and better efficiency. Because the people running the sport, the FIA, wanted to keep costs down and make it easier for new brands like Audi and Ford to join the grid, they decided to set a strict limit on this squeeze. They told all the manufacturers that the compression ratio must be capped at 16:1. This was a significant drop from the 18:1 ratio used in previous years. The goal was simple: create a level playing field where everyone has the same basic engine potential.
But Mercedes, the team that dominated the early hybrid era, seems to have found a way to bypass this limit entirely. Reports suggest they have developed a power unit that uses thermal expansion to cheat the physics of the rulebook. You see, the FIA measures an engine's compression ratio when it is cold, sitting stationary in the garage at room temperature. Under these conditions, the Mercedes engine measures a perfectly legal 16:1. However, a Formula One engine at full racing speed is one of the hottest environments on Earth. Mercedes has reportedly engineered their internal components, specifically the connecting rods, from materials that expand more than the parts around them when they get hot. Imagine a metal rod that actually grows longer as the race goes on. As the engine reaches its full operating temperature, these rods lengthen, pushing the piston higher into the cylinder. This effectively shrinks the space inside the combustion chamber, causing the compression ratio to jump from the legal 16:1 back up to the old high-power 18:1. The advantage this provides is staggering. We are talking about an extra 10 to 15 horsepower, which translates to roughly a quarter of a second per lap. In a sport where titles are won and lost by thousands of a second, a quarter-second lead is an absolute eternity. It's the kind of gap that allows a driver to cruise to victory without ever feeling the pressure of a rival. Unsurprisingly, the rest of the paddock is absolutely furious. Ferrari, Audi, and Honda have all lodged formal complaints with the FIA. They argue that while Mercedes might be following the letter of the law, they are completely violating the spirit of the rules. They've spent hundreds of millions of pounds building engines that strictly follow the 16:1 limit, and now they find out that Mercedes has found a backdoor. The legendary Mario Andretti, who is currently advising the new Cadillac team, offered a brilliant perspective on this. He compared the situation to lawyers interpreting the law. He noted that some lawyers are simply better than others because they know exactly how to navigate the grey areas of the law before they turn red. Engineering in F1 works the same way. It's a constant battle of how far can we push this before we actually break a rule.
But here is where it gets even more complicated. It appears that Red Bull has also figured out this trick, though they might not be as far along in developing it as Mercedes. This creates a fascinating political standoff. Right now, 6 out of the 11 teams on the grid use either Mercedes or Red Bull Ford power units. That means more than half the grid has absolutely no incentive to see this loophole closed. They have the advantage and they want to keep it. The FIA is now trapped in a nightmare scenario. If they allow this thermal expansion trick to stand, they are essentially rewarding a team for finding a loophole that ruins the fair racing they promised the fans. But if they try to ban it, they face accusations of changing the rules mid-game to punish innovation.
Furthermore, the engines have already been designed and homologated, meaning the designs are officially locked in. Forcing a team to redesign their engine now, just weeks before the season begins, would be practically impossible and incredibly expensive. The FIA does have one potential safety net, but it isn't a perfect fix. It's a new system for 2026 called ADOO, which stands for Additional Development Upgrade Opportunities. Basically, if the FIA sees that one engine manufacturer is way faster than everyone else, they can give the struggling teams extra money and extra testing time to catch up. The problem, ADOO only kicks in after 5 or 6 races. If Mercedes and Red Bull start the season with a half-second advantage, they could build an unbeatable lead in the championship before Ferrari or Audi are even allowed to start their catch-up upgrades. And even then, there is no guarantee that extra money will help you solve a complex metallurgical problem that your rivals spent years mastering. We have seen this pattern before in F1 history. Think back to 2009, when Brawn GP arrived with the double diffuser. It was a clever interpretation of a blurry rule that allowed them to dominate the first half of the season. By the time the other teams copied it, the championship was already over. Then there was Mercedes' own DAS system a few years ago, which allowed drivers to pull on the steering wheel to change the alignment of the wheels. It was brilliant, it was controversial, and it was eventually banned, but not before it helped them win another title.
The 2026 season was supposed to be the start of a golden age of close competition. But right now, it looks like a battle of who can exploit the rulebook the most. The integrity of the sport is on the line, and the FIA has a massive decision to make. Will they protect the spirit of the rules, or will they let the engineering outlaws run away with the trophy? We want to know what you think. Is this just brilliant engineering that should be celebrated, or is it legal cheating that will ruin the season? Should the FIA step in now? Or is it too late to change the game? Drop a comment below. We love a good technical debate, and we read every single one of your theories. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the darker side of F1 engineering and want to stay updated on this scandal as it unfolds, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. We are going to be following every meeting, every protest, and every technical leak as we head toward the 2026 revolution. Don't forget to ring the notification bell so you're the first to know when we drop our next video. Thanks for watching, keep your eyes on the telemetry, and we'll see you at the next corner.